Scott, we're back with our second big story. The fate of Paramount is up in the air. It looks like Shari's going to run it herself after controlling shareholder Shari Redstone killed merger talks with Skydance earlier this week, ending a months-long saga that keeps going on. I know, we've talked about whether it's important or not, but it's very interesting. National Amusements, the Redstone family company that owns Paramount, said the parties had not been able to reach a deal, noting they could not agree on outstanding non-economic terms. Redstone is now reportedly looking to pursue a separate sale of National Amusements without trying to merge Paramount with another company. I've been trying to figure it out. There's a Sony deal, Apollo deal that was sticking out there, but it was the only other one. There was a talk about a Paramount Warner Brothers merger. There were all these plans to take CBS and have Jeff Zucker and Jeff Shell run it. That's gone. I don't know what to say here. I guess David Zaslav is probably calling her, I suppose. It's such a convoluted ownership structure. And by the way, media investor Edgar Bronfman Jr., backed by Bain Capital, is reportedly looking to make a $2 billion offer for National Amusements. Stephen Paul, Hollywood producer Stephen Paul, is also lining up financing. What do you do if you're a Paramount shareholder? Is there anything to do? The shares dropped 8% on Tuesday.
Again, I don't want to make it. I wish Paramount would be essentially really poorly trained or have a limp, and that the governor of South Dakota would just take this thing and shoot it and bury it in a gravel pit. I am so sick of hearing about the neuroses of billionaires. Do you realize, this is really an interesting and disparaging statement on America. The only people going after this thing now are billionaire children. Edgar Bronfman Jr., Shari Redstone, David Ellison. What do they all have in common? They've all inherited billions. Those are the three players involved in this. And then what did we?
Apollo and Sony.
Well, okay, but what did we predict? Apollo's just waiting for this dysfunction to pan out. Have at it, billionaire weirdos. And when you're serious,
I hadn't thought about that.
And when you're serious and realize these pretzel weird gymnastic unnatural act deals fall apart because they make no fucking sense and they never did. We're here. Probably not at a price you like, but we're here. And you're right. It's either going to go. I don't know if Warner can do it with their debt right now. I think.
Well, they've brought it down quite a bit. They brought it down.
But this is what's happened.
Disciplined executive.
The company has been in play for 6 months. When companies are in play, their stocks go up. In the last 6 months, Paramount Global's stock has gone down 34% because all this drama has reflected is the controlling shareholder of Paramount is a billionaire child. And the great thing about dynasties is usually the kid fucks it up and spends most of dad's money. And usually what's interesting is the grandkid looks up and says, grandfather was a baller, dad was an idiot, and they make some of it back. But this is the next generation of idiots blowing their parents' money. Notice how no institutional investor is a serious bidder here.
Yeah, not yet. They're waiting.
So, and again, I'm just kind of like, can we just fast forward to when this thing is put out of its misery?
So let me ask you then, what is that? What is the best answer here? Because there's some very valuable media assets
split up.
Here, no question. Split up.
They give the movie company to Sony, give the cable companies to a larger roll-up that will cut costs instead of pretending there's a future in cable. Just make Nana and Pop comfortable and cut costs faster than the business is declining, because it's still a good business, it's still a profitable business, it's just not growing, and call it a day. But Shari, my sense of Shari is every time the bankers kind of convince her this is the best deal, she hangs out with Alito's wife and decides she's getting a shitty deal after a few glasses of Chardonnay and then blows the deal up. I mean, I would imagine every serious banker and every serious acquire is sort of like, we're just kind of done here. We can't get a deal done with these people.
Oddly enough, I was talking to a very high-profile banker who is peripherally involved this week, and they're like, this is all about personal drama.
100%.
Playing out in a thing. And it's like someone needs to get a therapist, which Shari had I like Shari. I've interviewed her several times, but it's like she can't run it herself. She just can't. They're going to leave. And by the way, these triple CEOs, at least two of them I understand are going to leave. They have a triple CEO situation in place. They're going to go. It looks like they're going to get out of Dodge, and They're saddled with all kinds of things, but in there is all this valuable IP, all this really interesting IP, hit shows, lots of juicy bits here, and it just to watch this company, you know, Paramount Pictures was Paramount fucking Pictures, right?
Yeah.
And you know, there are some very dynamic media companies still. This is not one of them, and so I just wonder. It's so romantic, the idea of buying it, but it's so like if I don't understand a deal, I was like, you're going to buy what and sell what to what? What does this have to do with what's good for Paramount or what's good for CBS or whatever? You know, none of it has anything to do with what's good for the business. But
whenever you're selling anything, whether it's a football team or a business, you just really want to hope that the child of a billionaire or a kid who inherited billions shows up. Again, notice how the only 3 people bidding on this thing right now are billionaire children.
Yeah, it's interesting. I will say David Ellison's done a very good job as a movie producer. He made Top Gun,
very sharp guy,
Star Trek, and you know, I was kind of like, why do you need to be? He wanted a little more power, right? And this was a short trip to that. He thought it was a short trip to it, but what a waste of his time. Go make another movie, David. Go make another hit movie. You're good at it.
But look at it. This is all ego. Billionaire kids are like, I don't need money. What do I want to do? I want to go to the Cannes Film Festival and the Oscars, and I like movies, so I get to do that. And the serious investors are like, you know, we'll just sit this one out until they come to us and say they're willing to sell at a price that makes sense for our limiteds. We're cursed with being grown-ups, and we don't have billionaire parents, so we need to act more rationally and a little bit more like see above grown-ups.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we'll see.